Nazi because she talks in her sleep. Oh. Yeah, both Indiana Jones and his father hooked up with the same woman, so.
Yeah, very disgusting. Hey guys, my name's Dan, and this reaction is the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade pitch meeting, and this is one hell of a movie that Ryan decided to do here. It's an absolute classic. I remember seeing it when I was younger and rewatching it, and it should be a blast to see what exactly Ryan has to say about it, because as with any Indiana Jones movie, there are some very ridiculous things that happen within it, but we'll get into that and how I feel about it at the very end of this video. But before we do, though, please check all those links I have for you down in the description below. More specifically, the pitch meeting link and his personal channel. They're both great ways to support him, and a great and easy way to support me is to go right below this video and click all those buttons down there, because not only to see future reactions that I do, but also my channel to grow. And without any further ado, let's go.
So, you have a new Indiana Jones movie for me? Yes, sir,
yep.
I do. It's going to be called The Last Crusade, since it's probably the last one we'll make. Harrison Ford is getting kind of old. So we're going to start with Indy as a kid stealing this artifact from some grave robbers and then running away from them. Very exciting. Yeah, and then during the chase, he's going to get his chin scar, his fear of snakes, his whip, and then the lead bad guy gives him his cool hat. So he just gets all his iconic elements within a 15-minute period on the same day? He does, yes. And so then one day in the future, while dodging his academic responsibilities, Indy's basically kidnapped by these guys working for Walter Donovan. Who's that? Well, Indy knows exactly who he is. He's a rich art collector guy who's done a lot of donations. Probably didn't need to do that kidnappy thing then. Maybe not. So he tells Indy that his father Henry disappeared while searching for the Holy Grail, which gives you eternal life. Oh, that would let you live eternally. Exactly.
Yeah,
but
it sure would.
Skeptical, you know, a Holy Grail? How is this guy still skeptical about this kind of thing? Unclear. So he receives his father's diary in the mail containing all his Holy Grail research, and he heads to Venice to check stuff out. And what does he do there? Well, he meets up with his father's associate, Dr. Schneider. And what's his deal? Actually, it's what's her deal, sir. Her name is Elsa. Indiana Jones makes the same assumption, which, you know, kind of makes you think. Yeah, it does. That's the point. Really makes me think. I'm just like Indiana frickin' Jones. No, that was
yes, you are.
What does Indy do with the lady doctor? Well, they follow Henry's research into these catacombs under a library, and Indy lands directly into some petroleum, which he uses to light a torch. Wouldn't that also light him on fire if he's covered in it?
You would think so, yeah, but let's completely forget about it.
Shield that has details about how to get to the Grail, but then they're chased by these Grail protector guys. Oh, very exciting. So they manage to escape, and they find out from the leader of this group that Indy's dad is being kept in a castle run by Nazis, and so then Indiana and Schneider hook up. Why? Well, they're both attractive, so they love each other kind of now. Oh, okay, gotcha. So Indy rescues his dad from this Nazi castle, and he's like, oh, thanks for shaving me. He shaves his father? No, that's just how I imagine he would sound. I don't know if we could find an actor who would sound like that.
Oh, yeah, it couldn't be Mr. or Sir Sean Connery, could it?
Okay, fine, we'll get Sean Connery.
Yes! Yeah!
Escape? Actually, no, because it turns out Elsa is a Nazi collaborator, and Henry knew this. Probably should have mentioned that with a note along with the diary. Maybe. Anyway, he knows she's a Nazi because she talks in her sleep. Oh. Yeah, both Indiana Jones and his father hooked up with the same woman, so.
Yeah, very disgusting.
So they get tied to a chair in a room and get left alone. Why wouldn't they leave a guard in there with them? Well, because they need to escape. The movie's not over. That makes sense. So Henry tries to burn the rope, but instead sets the entire room on fire. Oh, a very flammable Nazi castle. But they manage to get away, but they're still being chased by Nazis. Uh-oh, gonna be hard to get out of that situation. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, see, they do this really clever thing where they set a boat off to pretend they left in it, then they hide in a crate with a motorcycle in it, and then take off as soon as the Nazis step into another boat. Why not wait like an extra minute till they're out on the water? Because then there wouldn't be a cool motorcycle chase scene.
Yeah!
Oh, gotcha.
You need that cool motorcycle scene. Any Indiana Jones movie needs a cool motorcycle scene.
But now the bad guys have the diary, so Indy and his dad have to sneak into Nazi Berlin to get it. How do they get into Berlin undetected? Off screen. So now that they have the book, it's time for another chase scene. Oh boy, yeah, and they're gonna escape into this mountain tunnel thing, and a plane's gonna try to chase them and crash.
Whoopsie!
A plane into a tunnel because explosions are fun to look at. That's
yes,
a good
they
point.
are.
Nice of that pilot to make that sacrifice for us. Anyway, eventually they're gonna get to the temple where the Grail is, and Donovan's trying to get these guys to go through the traps you gotta go through, but they keep dying. Oh boy. And Donovan's gonna shoot Henry in the stomach. A very evil Nazi. Yeah, now
very
the only way
evil.
to save him is for him to drink from the Grail, so Indy has to go through these traps. The chops have never been higher. Steaks. I don't eat beef.
Steaks.
Okay, so the clue that they have for the first trap is that the penitent man is humble before God. Okay. So he realizes that means he needs to kneel, so he gets down and dodges a blade and then does a little roll to dodge another one. So the penitent man kneels before God and also does a cool little ninja roll. Exactly, like in the scriptures. And then there's this floor where Indy has to jump on letters spelling the name of God, and if he messes up, he falls to his death. Uh-oh. Yeah, and he accidentally jumps onto a J, but in the original spelling of Jehovah, it starts with an I. How does he survive that? He grabs onto the L and the Y to hoist himself up. Those letters are also not in Jehovah. Hey, shut up again. So then there's
yes, forgot about that.
There's no bridge. Well, illusionary paint jobs are tight. And so finally, Indy finds himself in a room with an ancient knight, and there are a bunch of cups and plates, and Indy has to figure out which one is the Holy Grail. Probably not one of the plates. But then Elsa and Donovan show up, and she gives Donovan the wrong Grail, so he dies. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Wow. So Indy finds the right one and saves his dad, but the knight tells him they can't leave with the Grail. That's kind of the whole thing. Why would that be a rule? Because. But then Elsa does try to leave with it, so the whole temple starts collapsing. Uh-oh.
Damn it, Elsa!
She tries to save her from falling, but she reaches for the Grail, so she falls and dies. Fatal. And then Indy's about to fall, and he reaches for the Grail that he knows he can't leave with. Correct. But then his dad tells him to let it go, and they ride off into the sunset together. Wow.
Yay.
Well, that's a perfect place to end it. Right? I mean, he's taken on the Ark of the Covenant, Sankara stones, the Holy Grail. Can't get much crazier than that.
Oh, it does. It does. There are several movies after that. But, you know, as I was alluding to in the intro, this is easily one of the best Indiana Jones movies. I'd say top 2 with Raiders being number 1. It's really close, though. It's fun. It's suspenseful. It's very well paced. And lastly, and certainly not least, it has freaking Sean Connery in it. I mean, I absolutely love Sean Connery. I think he's great. And pairing him with Harrison Ford was an absolute brilliant idea because they really did click together on screen. And that will do it for me here. Comment down below. Let me know, what did you think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Please check all those links I have for you down in the description below. Then lastly, and most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out to all my $5 and up supporters on Patreon. Cruising, Wolverine 310, Kester Cronage, Joseph McSweeney, Amber K, Raymond Bright, Chris Curtis, Haley Machinardi, and Perry, Lorca, Fox Coffany, Misa 2, Lily the Snoopy Fan, Lauren, Fleet Street Vicomp, Christopher Banyard, Songbird 177, Scott, Misa 3, Arrow Hamster, Inca Linquist, ZK Stir, Strange Moth, Lee Harris, Chris Chapin, and Thomas Sherwanowit. And if you too would like to have a shout out and then in each and every one of my videos, please head on over to patreon.com/TheDanReactor for more. And I will see you guys next time.